How frequently you should train a muscle group is a hotly debated topic for anyone looking to gain size optimally. On one end of the spectrum, some may argue that training a muscle group more than once a week is a surefire way to overtrain, while on the other side, some may argue that training a muscle 6 times a week is the only way to reach a natural potential. As with every question in the bodybuilding and strength community, the answer tends to be somewhere in the middle. The research is skewed towards higher frequencies, at least in the trained population. A 2015 study by Schoenfeld et al. Sought to examine the influence of training frequency between those training their muscle groups once a week using a split body routine, as opposed to those training their muscle groups 3 times a week using a full body routine. Most measures of strength and size tended to increase more with the full body split. Although marginal, these results suggest a hypertrophic benefit to higher frequencies of training when volume is equated. Additionally, a recent systematic review and meta-analysis sought to determine the effects of resistance training frequency on hypertrophic outcomes. With statistical significance, they found that the current body of evidence they examined indicated that training muscles twice a week promotes superior hypertrophic outcomes to once a week. Caution should be held, however, as only one study in the review of 10 was of statistical significance. That being said, the overall trend suggests that a frequency of twice a week is superior to that of 1. However, the analysis had insufficient studies to examine training frequencies greater than twice per week. On the far end of the frequency spectrum, there also exist studies such as the Norwegian Frequency Project, where 16 competitive powerlifters between 18 and 25 years old were put on the same 15-week program. The first group trained 3 times a week, while the second group had 6 smaller sessions spread out across the week. The higher frequency group had increased their bench and squat by 11% versus 5 and 6% in the lower frequency group. This study has been included due to its popularity. However, it must be noted that its findings have yet to be submitted to peer-reviewed journals. Nonetheless, this is consistent with the trend for a higher muscle training frequency. Many proponents argue that these benefits arise from the fact that muscle protein synthesis lasts for approximately 36 hours after resistance training, and by training frequently, you are keeping MPS consistently elevated over the course of your training block, while of course also obeying the anabolic limit and keeping junk volume or wasted sets at bay. The following hypothetical graphs by Dankel et al. Highlight these two phenomena quite well. It compares 3 groups, one training 6 days a week with 3 sets per muscle group, one training twice a week with 9 sets per muscle group, and another training 9 sets per muscle group except with no volume threshold. Anything above the dotted line will essentially be junk volume that won't contribute to hypertrophy but can still accumulate fatigue. The second graph highlights the benefits that may come from training muscle groups frequently, with each peak being the muscle protein synthesis response to resistance training. The authors further argue that MPS returns to baseline quicker in trained individuals, which may also support the findings of the Norwegian Frequency Project, who had their frequency group training 6 times a week. When we look at the advantages of lower frequencies, one obvious argument is recovery. Training at a lower frequency will allow more days for full recovery to ensure that when you do train, you're doing so without fatigue. Further, due to the fact that there is a lower frequency, there is also an argument for increased volume, which may in turn enhance the hypertrophic response. If I were to refer to the graph once again, it would be these individuals who would benefit from the lower frequencies, and it would be these individuals who would be at risk of overtraining. A recent study examining 21 middle-aged untrained women found that training full body 3 times a week produced similar results to a 4-day upper-lower split where volume was equated. A 2007 study also examining 29 untrained individuals found similar results with training frequency. This distinction between trained and untrained athletes may be the reason for the lack of hypertrophy differences, with Schoenfeld et al. In the discussion of that 2015 study commenting that it is conceivable that early phase adaptations are less sensitive to alterations in frequency and that benefits manifest as an individual becomes progressively more trained. This would be consistent with the research in the field and a generally held belief that total volume load is the most important factor in any training program. Having outlined that there may be such a thing as too much volume, we've also acknowledged that frequency shouldn't be increased to the point where it sacrifices optimal volume. So it looks like we're back at square one. However, we have arranged a table in line with the trend that more is better. Included is a table of the 4 most common bodybuilding training splits, with each split on the right being more effective than that on the left. Also included is the frequency of which muscle groups get trained, and the time necessary to complete the workout so that it is stimulating enough to induce growth. Take note that the times given are arbitrary numbers which seek to act as a general guide. These arbitrary numbers, however, allow us to raise a very practical question regarding time. How often are you able to make it to the gym in the first place, and how much time do you have available to train once there? Very practically, if you have limited time to train, then a bro split may be your best bet, as you would be able to engage the muscle to a sufficient degree to induce growth. As you become more experienced as a lifter, you can either take less rest days, which would then increase the training frequency, or you can switch to one of the more frequent splits. Thus, to answer the question of how frequently you should train, the answer will be that it depends. It depends on factors that we've raised, but also those that have not been even touched in this video, such as your training goals, your diet and nutrition, your quantity and quality of sleep, your stress management routine, your overall ability to recover, as well as a host of other factors. However, should your current progress come to a halt, tweaking your frequency may certainly be one method of overcoming that plateau. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. It was my first time really digging deep into the research and providing value out of it. I had a lot of fun, so you can expect to see a lot more of these videos, and you can expect to see a lot better quality in the future as well. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave the video a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And if you want to find the references, all of them are linked in the article in the bio, and you can find them at the base of that article. Once again, guys, thank you for lending me your time, and I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you later.